Greetings. Some of you remember me from years past, some of you have not met me. My name is Jerome. I once was a soldier in the Army of Rome. You will pardon me for sitting. I am old now. I have walked many, many miles in my service to the Emperor. It was required training during my service to be able to walk with full gear 20 to 25 miles a day. Time has taken its toll, and that is no longer possible. I served the Emperor, but not in the 10th Legion, because at that time Caesar had no legions in Palestine. Rather, there were people like me who were auxiliary forces. We were from the area in which our service was rendered. We were not Jews, but neither were we Roman citizens. We served the Emperor, and at his pleasure. I remember well a bright spring day when there was a great deal of noise and difficulty going on just outside the gates to the city of Jerusalem. And I happened to be on duty that day. In fact, all of my comrades were called to duty because there was rumor of a king who was coming to Jerusalem. We thought perhaps this king would challenge our armies in the occupation of Jerusalem and Palestine. But little did we know that this man's kingdom was of a different world. And so, me, Cornelius, and all of those serving were called to duty. It was a long, beautiful, but hot day. I resented being called to duty that day. I had a life of my own. I could have cared less about those Jews, about all the people who lived in Jerusalem. I could have cared less about Palestine and their quarrels and their squabbles over things religious. But I had a duty to perform, so I was there. I suddenly heard boisterousness of the crowd and saw lots of people coming towards me as I stood against a building on the road from Bethany. There was a motley crew of folks, waving branches, palm branches, apricot, any tree that was out in blossom, shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna to he who comes in the name of the Lord. I wondered what a strange thing this was. The king was not on a white horse. The king was not on a stallion. The king was on the back of a donkey. I thought, what kind of king is this? As he passed me by, I stood with no expression on my face. He looked me in the eyes. He directly looked me in the eyes. And I was never again the same man. Something about that man stirred deep within my soul. Something about that man would come to pass and would change my life forever. I performed my minimum number of years in service to the emperor, 16 as it were. I received a small grant of a farm which was traditional among soldiers who served in the Roman Empire. But I became a member of a new army. I changed my understanding of what life was about and who I served and who my king was. Yes, this man from Galilee changed me forever. And I became a soldier in his army. But I don't come here to tell you that story today, only as an introduction that you know I know of what I speak. It was troubling, the things that happened in Jerusalem. It was troubling, the changes that were taking place in all of Palestine. And soon, the changes that would take place across the world. I had a friend who was one of the first followers of this new king. His name was Philip. Philip shared with me a story that I want to share with you today. Philip was on his way south from Jerusalem, heading towards Gaza, when he encountered an Ethiopian eunuch in a chariot. The chariot and the eunuch driving the chariot had pulled over to the side of the dusty road. And the eunuch was reading something from one of the sacred books of the Jews. I asked Philip, do you know what book it was? He said, of course I do. He told me. It was the book of Isaiah. I said, and what was he reading? He said, he was reading about the sacrifice of the Lamb, which we believe to be the story of Jesus. I said, what did you say to this man? Philip said, I looked at him and I said, do you understand what you're reading? And he looked at me and said, how could I, unless someone tells me what it means? How could I understand the story? Philip was troubled, but he proceeded to tell this man from Ethiopia, the good news of the carpenter from Galilee. Apparently, the Ethiopian took the story to heart, and he too had an experience, and he asked Philip, what do I do next? And Philip said, be baptized. And so Philip said he baptized this man in a pool of water next to the river. How foolish you people are for arguing over how big was the pool, how deep was the pool, how did he do the baptism? What difference does it make? He baptized the Ethiopian eunuch. How does it matter? Why matters? Why can't you get that in your heads? the baptism, it's the story of the conversion. It's the story of bringing the story to others. Indeed, as the Ethiopian said, how could I understand if no one explains it to me? And so, I come to you today. I come to you today to speak of, if not you, who? If not you, who? If you're not willing to share the story, then who will? If you aren't willing to tell others in your circle of friends about the difference the Lord has made in your own life, then how will they know the story? I know we don't all tell the story the same way. We each have our own personalities. We each have our own unique way of speaking. We each have our own name. There are no two of you that will tell the story the same way, but every one of you should be sharing the story with those you know. I'm not talking about being intrusive. I'm not talking about putting your hand on somebody's head and driving them to the ground to be changed or baptized. I'm not talking about beating people over the head. I'm talking about sharing the love of Jesus of Nazareth with those that you are privileged to share the journey of life. Why is it so hard? Why do we make it so complex? If we see a movie we like, we tell others. If we read a book we like, we tell others. If we have an experience in life that we enjoy doing, we tell others. So why should we hesitate to tell others of the difference the man from Galilee has made in our own lives? I wonder. Of course, you can't tell something you don't know, can you? There is the presupposition that we know the good news ourselves. Oh, maybe not all the details, maybe not all of the who wrote what and when and the dates and all of those details, but we don't need to know the details to tell the story. The story is very simple. I love to tell the story in my own way. It's not you. Thank you for allowing me to spend time with you today. concern upon me and be gracious unto you, both now and forevermore. Amen.
Whatever it is that we it's not like that.
Well, we're missing you on the Sunday school class online. I do that online, and then I catch, I do some video online at home, and I dash it return. I don't know that. You're no longer dashing, is that what you're saying? Yeah.